What's up, everybody? Ben Rasa and Gajewski here for Odd Chopper, and we are back talking college hoops for the first time this year in VOD form. You know what? March Madness is quickly approaching, and there are a ton of games each and every night to bet, to break down, and do everything in between, Matt. I know college football is your bread and butter, but now that the season has ended, you've shifted a lot of your focus to college hoops. I'm sure you're excited to get this launched.
Yeah, I very much am. I know March Madness starts to heat up once NFL and college football end. And of course, once we get to the conference tournaments and March Madness itself, things will be really hot. But once conference play started, things started to get a little more exciting. And I'm certainly excited for these games we have today.
No doubt about it. Again, I know college hoops isn't on most people's radar till March, but there is opportunities to buy low on these teams, to get a feel for what these teams are about. And obviously, more importantly, to beat these lines and hopefully make some money. And we're going to start that tonight on this Monday slate. Now, if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. If you can hit that like button, you want to support us, that is the easiest way to do it. And if you like this type of content and you want college hoops picks, NFL picks, NBA picks, and all types of tutorials, this is the spot for you. Just hit that subscribe button. You will be part of the community. But all right, Matt, we've got a lot of big teams. I'm going to take to the West Coast. The first game up, I know where you're going because we talked about this. USC and Arizona State. I see a 13-point spread. Let me know if you got a different number. Where do you lean in this game to get your card started?
This line is moving a little bit towards Arizona State, surprisingly. I found it 12.5, so obviously prefer that if you can find it. And that kind of tips my hand a little bit. Backing USC here, perhaps the strongest team in the Pac-12. I think we can say that with a little bit of confidence right now, even though they do have the 2 losses. But Arizona State is a team that's been just through complete turmoil this year. They lost Bagley really early in the year. He's not expected to return anytime soon. They have some players dealing with a suspension right now. Jay Heath is not going to play in this game, and we'll see if anybody else is affected. It's kind of hard to find news on some of these, but right now Jay Heath is a guy that's been playing 30 minutes a game. He played 32 and 33 in their last 2 games, and it's not like Jay Heath is a complete difference maker for this team, but he does vacate 15% of the usage for a team that doesn't really have a lot of depth. And then you look at how USC matches up against Arizona State. We know USC likes to play through Isaiah Mobley, and that kind of goes against the strength of the Arizona State defense with Kamani Lawrence in the interior. But I also think USC is a team that can shoot the 3 pretty well. Right now, they have 4 players that are shooting at least 38% from 3 at the guard position in Ethan Anderson, Drew Peterson, Boogie Ellis, and then Mobley himself actually shoots 41.5%. So if Arizona State tries to take away the interior, I do think USC is a team that can shoot over them as well. And there's very stark differences in 3-point defense. Arizona State ranks 216th in the country in that metric. There's just a lot of metrics that point to USC in this spot, and then you have the suspension on top of it.
Yeah, Arizona State's obviously, they've got some, I think Hurley's suspended as well for this game, but that's irrelevant in some regards. Good. Yeah, it's not good, that's for sure. But USC is a very balanced team, obviously defensively, very, very strong unit. 12.5, good number. I see 13 right now. So if you can find that, I'm certainly going to be on board. I bet USC the other day against Colorado. Close game. I don't expect this to be nearly as close to them at home. You just mentioned some stark advantages kind of across the board. So getting the card started there. I'm going to take you to the ACC for my favorite bet today. Going to North Carolina. They're at home against Virginia Tech. And I do want to point out, and this is one of the most important things when you're looking to bet these games, is trying to gauge where the number is going to go, where the number is at. And right now, North Carolina, the pendulum is swinging backwards. So to open, they were, I think, 4, and it was up to 6 when I woke up. As we film this, it's down to 5, and it looks like it could even dip down to 4.5. So if you were betting this, when you're watching this, just make sure to monitor that number. And if you think that's going to continue to fall, I would wait and bet this closer to tip. Anything inside 5 or even at 5, I'm comfortable with it. I look at North Carolina. They've had a couple slip-ups, mostly on the road lately. They're back at home. Baycock, honestly, Love has been a lot better than I expected. They're very strong offensively. They want to play fast, where you look at Virginia Tech, more of a methodical team, more of a balanced team, but they've taken their struggles in ACC play. To me, this is just a good spot for North Carolina in general. I think they have some distinct advantages. 5, 4.5, anything in there is good enough for me. Do you have a lean on that ACC matchup?
I like North Carolina too, and it's kind of the ultimate buy low spot on this team.
Yeah.
coming off two really, really tough road games. They played at Miami, who's a phenomenal team in this conference this year. We just saw them knock off Duke. And then they lost against Wake Forest, another team who's really good with Alondis Williams. So there's two main matchup advantages I think North Carolina has in this spot. One of them is on the glass. Virginia Tech is one of the worst rebounding teams in the country. They actually rank 287th in rebounding defense. They're among the bottom of the ACC. We know Baycott is going to take advantage of that. This team has played without Dawson Garcia for a little bit of time too. And, he's a role player, but getting him back does help, especially with some of the size he provides there too. And then you have North Carolina, a team that shoots the ball pretty well from three on the year, 37% as a team. In their last two games, they were at 20 and 27%. They shoot a ton of threes, and they should be experiencing a lot of positive regression in the upcoming games here. So, to be exact, they shot 20% from three against Miami, and then they shot 21% against Wake Forest. For a team that shoots 37% on the year, that's just not going to get it done. And when you ride and die by the three like that, you're going to lose some games. So it's kind of just the ultimate buy low spot for a team playing a much weaker opponent compared to their two previous opponents.
Well said, yeah. And they get them at home, all those things. Of course, you had to put former Marquette great Dawson Garcia in the video. There you go. But I do agree everything you said, that North Carolina is in a buy low spot. And if this line continues to move, I'm going to wait. I would love to grab this at 4. If it gets to 4, I'm going to bet it again and probably double up on them. But all right, got USC. We've got North Carolina. Final play for the video. Where are you going?
I like going to Florida against Ole Miss. This is another one that's moving a little bit, and there's a lot of injuries in this game. With Florida, you're going to find them as a slight favorite. It's coming down closer to 4 or 5 in some spots, so obviously you want to take the best number you can. But Ole Miss is a team in complete shambles. They're without their best player, Jarkel Joyner. He's not going to be playing in this game. However, on the other side, you can also say Florida is without their best player in Colin Castleton. Even with that said, I do think there are some matchup advantages towards Florida. They've been able to overcome the loss of Castleton, at least in their last two games. They grinded out a pretty gross one against Mississippi State. They take down Vanderbilt. And then Ole Miss, a team that's just slipped up at almost every point in time this season. When you look at some of the matchup advantages, I think Florida still does have some of these. You talk about rebounding. Ole Miss ranks 194th in rebounding. Florida's 30th overall. And obviously losing Castleton hurts. But Florida's a team that has some pretty good size across the board. They have a big monster in Jason Jitbo, 6'11", 285 pounds. He's been trying to fill in for Castleton. The big issue with him is fouls, but even going down, you have DeRougie, who's 6'7". Felder plays decent minutes, 6'7". Koasi Reeves, who's a top 50 recruit this year, he's a freshman, 6'6". He's going to be forced into more minutes. So some of these players that do have good size, I don't think it's necessarily going to be impactful on the high end with Jitbo, but when you just look across the lineup, they do have size advantages over some of these Ole Miss players. I do think that is another spot where Florida can potentially take advantage of this team. But how do you see the absences affecting the game?
It is a weird game, I'm not going to lie. So I don't know if it's because I've been watching, sadly, both of these teams. First of all, the Florida Bigs, the fouling is really brutal. They got to stay out. They got to stay on the floor because they could really use them. Florida is up, in my opinion, this is a smart way to do it. We saw this against Mississippi State a little, and they were at home. Florida's kind of upping the variance, in my opinion. They're taking a lot more threes. Their inside presence. Castleton is like a do-it-all type player. He really, really solidifies that offense. But without him, I think we've seen them kind of spread it out, take more threes. To me, this isn't just a matchup type game. Ole Miss they're just not really doing much of anything right now. You mentioned the injuries on both sides. They're pretty strong defensively. They're top 100 per KenPom. But other than that, there's just not a lot happening offensively. So I get they're at home. I get this is a sneaky, trappy game, and the line is moving against it. This is not on my card yet. I am still looking at it, but I will say Florida, athlete-wise and just personnel-wise, does have the advantage. Just a matter of can they execute on the road, much like every team. They would prefer to be playing in Gainesville.
For sure. And we did see them take a lot more threes in their most recent contest. So I hope that's something they continue to do. When you look at Ole Miss, they have one good big guy. It's Nasir Brooks, and he's very good, but he's basically just a rebounder. He doesn't do a lot of shooting. So I'm hoping they can keep Jitbo on the floor for even just like 25 minutes without fouling. It's a big ask for him.
Yeah.
It's a big ask for him. He fouled he had 4 fouls in 16 minutes in his first start, and then he had 4 fouls in 27 minutes in his second start. So I'm hoping we get the latter end of that. But even if he's out, I do think Derugi can do a lot. He's a little bit smaller than Jippo. But seeing them shoot 36 threes in their last game and only hit 25%, that's also kind of an anomaly for them on the year. Much better shooting team overall. It's just that they don't take a ton of threes. They're 291st in three-point attempts, but they're 70th in three-point percentage. So a little bit of small sample size there. But if Florida can hit some of those threes at the clip they have been this year, Ole Miss is one of the worst teams in the conference. I think they should be able to get it done even without Castleton.
Yeah, rough team. But there you have it again. First of many CBB videos here. We've got USC. I keep saying UFC. I've got Ngannou on the mind. USC, North Carolina, and the Florida Gators. For me, for Matt, for everyone here at Odd Shopper, thanks again for stopping in. Hit us with any comments if there's games you want us to take a look at or just any thoughts. We appreciate the feedback. Good luck. Enjoy these games, and we'll talk to you guys soon.